Welcome back. So, as we were saying, EWM Monitor, we checked how to enter, we checked the standard SAP Monitor, we know how to run reports. Now it's the time to deep dive into the data. Let's have a look together. Great, so we're back to the EWM Monitor and we are ready to use one of the reports. Let's use the inbound deliveries, shall we? We didn't run this report yet, so as I open the inbound delivery folder on the left, I see that the inbound delivery report is here. And by the way, I can see that this is a report and this is a folder because, as you can see, there's a small document here. Of course, by now I know it by heart. I know which ones are folders, which ones are executable, but literally if I double click the inbound, it's not going to execute anything. If I double click the inbound delivery here, it's a report. It's going to open the selection screen. Now in the selection screen, of course, I could put the specific inbound delivery number, or I could put a document type or the SN number. There's a lot of standard fields with which you can select the objects that you want to be displayed in the report, in the result of the report. As you can see, there's a lot of different data, also when it was created, who created it. But right now, I'm only interested in running the report, seeing some data, so I will actually select everything that's in the system. And this is a test environment, so I don't have much data, but of course if you're in a productive environment, you don't want to select everything because it's too much. You probably want to do a sub-selection of some sort. But right now I'm going to select everything and let's see the data. All right, here we are, the data. So first things first, I want to analyze data. Let's use the full screen. The full screen can be toggled like this. We already saw it previously. And now the first feedback is, oh my God, it's a lot of writings. It's hard to understand what I'm looking at and what kind of information I would be interested from the inbound deliveries. Well, usually what I like to see is the inbound delivery number, the document type, because there's different document types of inbound deliveries for different processes. So I definitely want to see the document type. Also, I want to see the status of the goods receipt. Is the goods receipt posted or not? I want to see the put away status. Is the put away completed or not? I want to see the overall warehouse activity because the warehouse activity represents the combination of goods receipt posting and put away completion. So if everything's completed, the warehouse activity status will be completed. So I do want to see that. And I do want to see the supplier and potentially the number of items that is in the specific delivery. So every item is a material to be received. Probably want to see that as well. But as you can see, this report shows a lot of data. If I scroll to the right slowly, you see that it's really a lot of data. So the first question is, oh look, the ship from. That should be our supplier. So the first question is, well, Milos, how can we actually only see what we want to see? Is there a way to set up the monitor so that we have a specific layout for the data that we selected? And the answer is absolutely yes. A very quick way to eliminate some of these columns is just right click and say hide, and this will hide that specific column, okay? Or if I want to hide this generated manually, right click, hide, and you see it disappeared. But the proper way, a more structured, organized way, is to here on this button, which is the layouts, to either select a specific layout if you already configured one of your layouts with specific data to be displayed, or potentially change this one specific layout. So we're going to change this layout and we're going to save it as a brand new layout, and we're going to set it up as a default, which means anyone else who comes in, instead of seeing the blob of data like this, they will be seeing the layout that we're going to configure together right now. Let's try it. Let's see. So change layout. Okay, so the displayed column, as you see, there's a lot of displayed column, and instead the columns that are not displayed are only two, and guess what? Those are the two I hidden a moment ago. So what are we interested to keep in our report? Well, I said that I want to see, there's a blocked overall status. We can keep that. The delivery can get stuck, for example, if the batch is mandatory and you did not declare the batch that you will receive for the specific product, then the status of delivery can be blocked, telling you basically that you cannot post goods receipt unless you declare the batch that you're receiving. So we're going to keep that. We're going to keep the document number, so the inbound delivery number, and the document type. We will remove the document description, document type description, the vehicle, the transportation unit, logistic execution, delivery. Oh, we might want to keep that. This is the reference to the inbound delivery number on the ERP system, whether that's S4 or the good old ECC. So maybe we keep that. And the purchase order we might want to keep. So maybe we keep the purchase order too. So let's move this to the right. So these columns move to the right. Hop, there we go. And also all this stuff we can move. The warehouse activity status we will keep, because I want to see the overall progress of the delivery. And also there was the put away status that is here and the goods receipt status that's here. The other statuses right now I don't care. So I'm going to move them away. You see I'm moving things to the right, literally telling the layout that I want only these columns to the left to be represented. The put away status, yes. Goods receipt status, yes. Unloading, all this stuff I don't care. Carrier, interesting, but I'm gonna remove it. And I want the ship from to remain. So let's move this stuff to the right. So I said I want the ship from. Here it is, the ship from location, final ship to, goods receipt office. I don't care about this. The number of items I'm interested in. Actually also potentially a number of handling units, number of products can be interesting, but I'm just going to keep the number of items right now. And moving to the right here. Great. And what else? Delivery date planned. This could be also interested. When are we supposed to receive these goods? When is the truck coming? If it's a truck, usually it's a truck, of course. I'm going to remove it now. I don't care right now about delivery date. No, no, no. And what else? We're going to remove basically everything. Basically everything, yeah. Put the distribution status, archiving rejected. Also creation, who created it and when. We don't care right now. I'm only going to keep the counter. The counter is literally counting the number of items and can be convenient to quickly be able to see, oh, we have 20, 30, 40, 60 inbound deliveries in this selection. So I think I'm happy with this menu. What I want to do is I want to move up the goods receipt status to show first, then the put away, and then the overall status. So I'm going to move this up, as you can see with these arrows here, and the put away status I want to move up by 1. So the statuses are following the natural progress. I first post goods receipt, then I do the put away, and then I see the overall status. The ship from, maybe the ship from I want to move above before the statuses. Exactly. Then the number of items and then the counter. I think I'm really happy with this view. So I'm going to click OK. You can also save the layout here, but let's first have a look how it looks. Adopt. Ah, nice. So here logistic execution delivery is not determined and purchase order is not determined. Maybe the reference documents are not mapped. I'm not sure what's up with these values, but since it's not determined, I'm going to hide the delivery and the purchase order, hide, and I'm going to stick with this selection. So let's have a look. The status of the delivery number, the document type of the delivery, the ship from, so the supplier, the goods receipt status, the put away status, and the overall warehouse activity status, and the number of items of the delivery. And finally here the counter, and if we go to the bottom we see that, wow, we have 99 inbound deliveries selected in this way. I'm happy with this layout, so let me save it. I'm going to go back to the layout button here, and instead of changing it, I'm actually going to save this layout. And the system is asking me, hey, what's the name of your layout? So it's not going to be a user specific. It's going to be available as a layout to any user that is logging into EWM. I'm going to call it MJ01. The name, I'm going to say MJ default layout. And I'm actually going to make it default for anyone logging into the system. And I'm going to click OK. Awesome. Layout is saved. That means that the next time I enter, well, first of all, I can select this layout and have this representation of inbound deliveries. And the second thing is it's now default. So any inbound delivery I search again, it should be represented first with this default layout. Apart from the layout, we can also sort the inbound deliveries. We can sort this data by one of the criterias. For example, we could check, I think all of them have one item. I don't think there's one with two or more. Let's actually, when I want to see the possible values inside, a very quick way to do that, I just filter. You see the filter here? So let's assume that sometimes I have one item, sometimes I have two or three items. If I filter, and here I can select how many items I want to filter. So I want deliveries only with one item or only with two items. If you have a match code here of possible values, it's going to tell you what are the available values for you to select. But let's search all the deliveries. Let's only filter deliveries with two items. Let's have a look, execute. Oops, there's no deliveries with two items. So you see there's a filter here. So what I can do is I can click on the filter and delete the filter, and here I have my data back. So now that I know that there's no delivery with one item, maybe by clicking again on the column and saying, hey, can you sort from in the descending order, which means the highest number of items per delivery first. Let's sort in descending order for the number of items within a delivery, sorting in descending order. So the biggest number of items in a delivery is 1. Well, this is a test environment, so no surprise there. But maybe we can also sort in descending order based on the document number of the inbound delivery. Let's do that. So let's see what's the biggest number of the inbound delivery we have. The biggest number is 410510. Okay, great. So sorting is possible. Let me resort this. I can refresh the data. So let's assume in the meantime someone created an inbound delivery and it should appear in my menu. I can click the refresh button here. The report will be refreshed, the data is reread, and it's presented once again. Very convenient again. If I want to search for something in the results, in the data, I can search here. So for example, if I'm searching, let's say I'm searching vendor. Okay, let's search for vendor. Vendor, hit displayed 1. This hit, and I can also of course find only the entire word, display number of hits, and it has 10 hits. Okay, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. We have also only 10 times vendor. Apparently KT vend as the supplier is more used than the KT vendor. Well, good to know. You also can do the totals, so the sum of the data that you're displaying. Now here in this data set, probably the only thing that makes sense to add is the number of items. Potentially it also makes sense to count. The counter column automatically does the sum, but maybe what we can do, well, let's sum the number of items. I expect it's still 99 because it's 1 per delivery, 99 deliveries, 99 times 1, it's still 99. Let's sum. Indeed, it's still 99. But one thing we can do, for example, is to say, hey, based on the ship from, so based on the supplier, how many deliveries do we have for each of the suppliers? So if I select the ship from column and I select control-click the counter column and I ask the system, can you do a subtotal? So can you do the total of the counter column based on the ship from value, and I do the subtotal, the system will present that we have 89 entries for KT vend and 10 entries for KT vendor. Indeed, you remember earlier I did search vendor, it was 10 lines. So 10 times KT vendor and 89 times KT vend. Also, if you have multiple suppliers, you can very easily collapse the selection like this and just have the relevant data displayed. One more thing I want to say is business users ask me, hey Milos, can we download the data on Excel? Because we're so much used to the Excel, we want to use Excel. Can we download this data to the Excel? And the answer is yes. Yes, you can. You can download to the good old Excel. How do you do that? Well, here you have the button export, and you can export data to a spreadsheet. It's going to save it on an Excel. There's other ways to export data. I'm not going to go into it now, but spreadsheet is by far the one most used. Okay. The next thing to do is to also check not only what you can display in data, but also what can you actually do. Can you perform actions in the monitor. Let's have a look.